Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Amber. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to apply Scarecrow Vampire Fangs. Now, if you have been on any part of the spooky scene for any amount of time, you may have seen Vampire Fangs somewhere either around Hot Topic or Spirit Halloween or any of the different varying pop-up Halloween shops that we get every year. I personally got this pair. They are the classic Deluxe Vampire Fangs. I got these ones last Halloween when the Spirit Halloween stores were about to shut down, so everything was 50% off. So instead of being their normal $19.95, which most of the Vampire Fangs pretty much seem to be, you know, 20 bucks a pop, I got them for $10 instead. This won't be my first time working with a pair of these, as I have had a pair before. I got years ago. I was in middle school, I think. Oh god. So it's probably, I've probably had these for about 10 years. So yeah, these guys are probably about 10 years old and they do still fit and work. I guess we'll backtrack. For anybody who doesn't know, these Vampire Fangs are pretty much, they're little fangs that you get, and then it comes with a whole kit where you pretty much mix and make a dental grade mold that you put on the inside of the teeth, and then you stick it on your teeth and you mold it to your mouth so that they're like a perfect fit every time. You don't need to use any adhesive or anything like that. As an example, I'll show you these guys that I have. You literally just pop them in. And then you have them in your mouth. Typically they don't really affect you that much. Like, they're not, you know, painful or like super uncomfortable in your mouth. They are slightly annoying because it is something new in your mouth, because you can kind of feel it on your upper lip. It doesn't affect your speech too much, except maybe just gives you a little bit of a lisp. As you can tell, you can see it how I was talking before versus after I have them in. I am kind of surprised that they still fit as well as they do. They are a little looser than I would like them to be, but that is because I've been using them for the past 10 years. So they're not going to stay as solid and immobile as they would have before. You can pretty much see kind of the mold all around them. So that's how they stick in and adhere to your teeth. They are really, really high quality. Again, 10 years and I haven't had any issues with them. I did go ahead and pick up a new pair because I wanted a pair of the longer, more traditional kind of style Vampire Fangs versus the little baby ones. The rule for like what size you get is dependent, one, on your personal preference, if you want, you know, shorter subtle ones or if you want long dramatic ones, but two, it is also based on the size of your teeth. So if you have a smaller mouth and smaller teeth, Scarecrow generally recommends the small ones. I think these ones were called like the short sexy Vampire Fangs. And then if you have a larger mouth and larger teeth, they recommend the classic Deluxe Vampire Fangs, which is what I'm going to be using today. I feel like my teeth are generally kind of neutral, if not maybe on the larger side. So like these might fit in my mouth better than the small ones do. I've never had an issue with the small ones for, so I don't think the size of your mouth is that dramatic of a factor in deciding what kind you want. I feel it's more of a personal preference, but just relaying what the Scarecrow brand recommends. With all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and open these up and I'm going to show you how you mold them to your teeth. Generally, before anything like this that you do, you want to go ahead and read through the directions and the warnings first before you get into it, just in case you don't start and then like you didn't realize you needed something, so you have to go and grab something else. For these guys, they actually include everything that you need for molding them to your teeth in the kit. It doesn't look like it because it's just the fangs, but inside of the carrying case that the fangs are in, they have all of the different mixing components for the mold. But I am going to relay some of the information from the back that they warn. Novelty fangs are for temporary use only for adult entertainment, costume, and Halloween. Do not use over braces, wires, plates, crowns, bonding, veneers, dentures, or any other dental work. And you also don't want to use them if you have like sensitive irritated gums, if you have just recently gotten your teeth cleaned, or just if you have any abrasions in your mouth. They are non-toxic and safe for the teeth. They're not a toy, so keep them away from children. The unhardened liquid, which is part of the mixing components for the mold, is flammable, so you don't want to smoke or do anything sketchy while you are creating the molds. And once you purchase them, even if they're still completely sealed and packaged like mine are, they are not returnable under any circumstances. I don't know why that is a thing. So you open up the package and pop them out. You do want to keep this handy because those are going to have the instructions on them. And then you are able to pop out your case of fangs. They do come in, I always liked that they come in these nice carrying cases. They are a nice solid hard plastic that look kind of like little coffins with, you know, their skulls on them, but you can still see the fangs through the like clear plastic in the front. So like if I had all of these and like more pairs set up, because they do sell more pairs. They have the short vampire fangs, the long vampire fangs. I have also seen they have werewolf sets of fangs. And they might have a few other variations, I am not sure, but I have seen at least those three. So like if I were to have all of them in my special effects kit, just laying down, I could just easily look and navigate what pair I wanted. But we have these, and we will take a look at that in a moment. We are going to look at the instructions further. And again, it says, please read these precautions thoroughly before using. Do not use over braces, dental wear, blah, blah, blah. To prevent swallowing, do not eat, drink, or sleep with your fangs on. I have drinking with my small fangs on, and I have never had an issue, but you do want to be extra careful that you're not just taking giant gulps and swallows. You want to be sure that you're just taking small sips and that it's not lodging inside and going to make your fangs loose. So that's the unprofessional opinion, but the professional verdict is just don't eat or drink with them in. For adult entertainment only, never bite anyone with your fangs. So all of you kinksters out there, don't do it, or do it. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but be careful. Mostly it wouldn't end up like hurting anybody else. It would most likely break off in your mouth, and then you would risk swallowing pieces of it. So like, be careful, don't bite people with them. Store unused kit out of direct sunlight. Kit works best when used at room temperature, which it has been. Some fake blood foods or drinks may stain your fangs. Blood tips, rhinestones, and color finishes may wear a chip. Handle gently. So we're gonna go through and open these up so I can show you everything that comes in your kit. One, of course, we have the actual fangs themselves, and you pull them out, and this is what they look like before any of the mold is in. They're just kind of an empty little cavity so that you are able to position them in your mouth with plenty of room for all of the dental mold. And then you take the little velvet carrying out, and you have a new layer on the inside with all of your supplies. You have a little wooden stick that is for mixing. Ironic that it is a little wooden stake in the vampire fangs. You have your little bonding liquid that is completely sealed, so you twist that off when you are ready to use it. And then you mix it in with your powder capsules. And you mix all of it in the little carrying case that does shut closed. I was never completely sure why they shut closed. Like, I don't think you can keep any of the capsules, or like, I don't think you can keep any of the like mold putty that you create after it's been mixed. Like, it hardens over 24 hours. So I would assume after 24 hours, you're kind of donezo. Oh, wait. Maybe it's a carrying case that you get to keep afterwards to like put the fangs in if you want to travel with them. Oh shit. It's taken me 10 years to realize why they call it a carrying case. That's cool. And if that's not what it's meant to be for, that's definitely what I'm going to use it for. Anyways, we have that. They do give you extra capsules, like more capsules than you need, just in case anything goes wrong, or if you need more for like a particular fit or for whatever reason, which I always felt was super cool. And it looks like they've even made the little liquid bottles larger than I remember them being the last time that I did these. Granted, it was 10 years ago, so I could be remembering slightly wrong. I'm gonna go ahead and read all of the instructions now, and I will insert them in the video while they are relevant. That way you can hear all of the instructions with a clear voice before they are gonna be distorted by anything that is in my mouth. If you have pointed canines or triangular shaped teeth, try fangs on incisors instead of canines. In a mirror, find the best position for the first fang. Check the angle front to back and side to side. Practice putting the fang in the best position in a single motion so that you can locate it quickly without adjusting it once the mixture is inside. So you want to go ahead and take a mirror and test that in your mouth. So this is also where you decide where you want your vampire fangs. I think based on how they fit in my mouth, I'm going to be doing my canines. I considered doing them Lost Boys style in case I ever wanted to do a costume or a cosplay, but with how they are fitting in my mouth, I think I'm just going to do the traditional vampire kind of fangs, which is fine. So you want to practice that and make sure you know how you want to position them. Twist one capsule of powder apart. Tap, pinch, and twist the ends of each side of the capsule into the carry case to empty completely. Tilt the case so that all the powder collects at one edge. Snap off bottle tip and squeeze 4 drops into the powder. Stir with wide end of wood stick for 30 seconds to a minute until the mixture is uniformly wet and turns thick and pasty like toothpaste. Keep the mixture in a glob at the edge of the tilted case so you don't waste any. So first you're going to take one of your capsules and you're going to pour it inside of your carry case. Twist it open and dump it out. And then you can go ahead and toss the empty capsule because it will no longer do anything for you. Then you're going to tap all of the powder into one of the corners of the carry case, so that way you have it all in one spot. And you are going to take your liquid, which you will have to twist the cap and pop off like an old school Kool-Aid container. I have already done so. And you are going to put 4 drops into your powder mixture. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to take the wide end of your wooden mixing spoon and mix it together and scrape all of the putty together. And then once it's thick like toothpaste, you're going to take one of your teeth and you are going to scrape the mixture onto the inside of the tooth, sorry. Because one capsule is the equivalent for one tooth. And you don't want to push it all the way into the bottom. You just want it on the walls of the tooth. Scrape out all the mixture. And then your tooth is ready to be molded to your real tooth. Scrape all of the thickened mixture from the case onto the inside walls of one fang, not into the deep part of the cavity. Gently push the fang all the way up onto your tooth, locating the best position in one motion and hold. Push the fang lightly against the front of your tooth so it has good contact at the top and looks natural. Do not wiggle, reposition, or adjust the fang after you push it up onto your tooth. The mixture should squeeze out around the edges into the cracks between your teeth. This is normal. The more excess you leave on between teeth, the better the fit. So now that you have your tooth with all of your putty in it ready to go, you're going to take your mirror, position the tooth onto your real tooth, and hold it for 5 minutes while keeping your mouth wide so that there isn't any drool or anything from your mouth getting into the putty. Holding onto the fang, flare your lips and tilt your head back so you don't drool, and watch a clock for 5 minutes as the mixture hardens. Don't start the other fang until 5 minutes have passed so that you don't accidentally loosen the first before it's ready. Do not remove the first fang. So you're going to keep it on when you start work on the second fang. Okay, so after 5 minutes of holding down your tooth, your first tooth is done. However, you are not supposed to remove it. You are going to keep the first tooth in the entire time that you are mixing the mold and the putty for your second tooth and while your second tooth is being fit. So that way you do not take this one out too soon and it has the full time to cure. Now, practice positioning the second fang in the mirror. Orient it relative to the first so that it has a similar angle and looks good. Keep in mind that teeth are asymmetrical and fangs may fit your right and left teeth differently. This is natural. You're trying for the best fit for each tooth. Leave the first fang in place, customize the second fang, hold and wait 10 to 15 more minutes after you customize both fangs to allow the material on the second fang to harden completely. So next, you're gonna go ahead and repeat the same process of opening the capsule and mixing the liquid and creating the dental putty, putting it on the walls of the tooth and fitting it into your second tooth. You're going to take your second tooth and do the same thing. Position it into your mouth. And you're going to hold it in there for at least 5. So now your second fang has been on your tooth for 5 minutes and your first fang has been on your tooth for a little over 10 minutes now if you did everything properly. So now they are pretty much solid in where they are going to be fitting. So if they feel comfortable in your mouth and they're all good, you should be fine. You are going to set another alarm for 10 minutes. So you are going to leave both of them on for at least another 10 minutes so that both of them have been on for at least 15 minutes total. The first one will be closer to like 20-25 minutes total. But once you are done with the 5 minutes for your second tooth, create another alarm for 10 minutes and leave that on. At which point, when this alarm goes off, you're going to push your bottom teeth forward on the fangs until you hear the faintest slight little click, and then you're gonna pull from the top and like wiggle your tooth out and give it a break for a second, at which case you can either leave them out to dry and cure for the next 24 hours, or if you so feel like wearing them again, you can just pop them back in. They are more or less where they are going to be once fully hardened, because they do continue to harden for up to 24 hours, but they are wearable afterwards as long as you give them a little rest break after 15 minutes. If you do find that they are a little bit loose, you can use the leftover capsules and liquid to make more putty and redo this process to make sure you have the tightest fit possible. But if not, you can just pretty much toss the rest of the ingredients. I would recommend, actually, if you're gonna do the vampire fangs, I know sometimes Party City will sell cheap like $5 fangs. but they're ones that are meant for you to get tooth adhesive and like adhere them in. So I would get a pair of those along with the pair of Scarecrow fangs and use the leftover capsules and liquid to just do the same thing with the cheap Party City ones. So you can do the same thing and pop them in and out instead of having to buy separate adhesive for those ones, is what I would personally recommend if you don't want the rest of the materials to go to waste, because otherwise there's not really much you can do with them. Because the material continues to harden for up to 24 hours, remove them briefly after 15 minutes. Then you can put them right back on. To remove, gently push your lower teeth forward against the back side of the fang tips until you hear a slight click. Then grip up around the top of the fang and the edge of the molding material so you don't pull the cap off of it. Wiggle and gently pull from the top until they loosen up. Your fangs will now clip on and off easily, yet fit snug. The excess on the back helps the material adhere to the fang cap, so do not trim that off. Only trim the excess that shows on the front of the fang with a nail clipper, not between teeth nor on the back where it doesn't show. Sometimes teeth are pointed, smooth, or unusually shaped. If your fangs are well positioned but could be tighter, use a single capsule to customize both or one, again, over the hardened material. At this point, your second fang that has gone in has been in your mouth for at least 15 minutes, and your first fang has probably been in about 25 minutes. You're gonna come and, like I said, you're gonna push your bottom teeth forward against them until you hear a slight click, and then you can pop them out. So this one's being a little tricky. Ah, there's the click. Okay. As you could tell, it was a lot harder to get one of them off than the other. Not quite sure why that was. Sometimes they just adhere a little bit better. So you'll want to dry all of the spit out of them if there is any. And this is what they look like now that they are out of your mouth, if they'll focus. You have these. If on your particular teeth, sometimes depending on how you press them into your mouth, there will be a little bit of the excess putty on top. That, if that is the case for you, you can cut it with a pair of nail clippers. It is really easy to cut. I have done it before. Mine did not get the extra putty on the top, just on the sides and on the back, which is where they are supposed to be. So you do not want to cut those off, as that is what helps them adhere to your teeth. But now that they have taken a break and are, you know, hardened for now, they will continue to completely harden and solidify for the next 24 hours, but you are good to go to wear them and pop them back into your mouth. Like so. Once your teeth are completely done, they are going to be good for pretty much as long as you continue to take good care of them and don't put them through extreme wear and use. Like I said, I have had my first pair for over 10 years and I have yet to have any issues with them, but I don't do anything like daily wear or anything like that. They are more for costumes and the occasional gimmick, or sometimes I just like wearing vampire fangs around the house. Because what else am I going to do with them, you know? I would too recommend when you are molding, like you have the putty on and you are holding them to your teeth, hold them as close to the tooth as possible. Like push forward so that all of the putty, like you don't want a bunch of putty between your tooth and the fake tooth. Otherwise it sticks out and you can tell that they are super fake. You want them as close as possible so they look as close to real as possible. That is just a tip from my experience doing these. So you can see how well they fit in the mouth. You know, you try and get them as close as possible. They do go, on one side at least, they go slightly above my actual tooth line, but unless you are like super smiling and cheesing, you can't really tell, and even so, I feel like you can't tell that much. I am noticing that it is just slightly harder to talk with these guys than it is with the shorter ones, but that should be expected because it's a larger piece of tooth in your mouth. I would not necessarily recommend these for talking roles. Like, they would be great for costumes where you are being silent or for pictures and silent video. I don't know how much I would recommend this particular size and pair for any talking, like costumes that you still want available to talk, or if you have video where you need to talk wearing them. But that you can decide for yourself. I mean, obviously you saw me talking before I had the fangs in, and now you're seeing me after. Hopefully this visual tutorial was a little bit helpful to you if anybody else has Scarecrow fangs and aren't the best with just reading directions and like a visual representation of how to do it, or this maybe encouraged you or helped you find a new product. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I had a blast hanging out with y'all. Peace.